Hello everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Infiniti and I just woke up from a nap. I don't know why I said that, but we're gonna roll with it. Today I bring you guys day 27 of Vlogust, and today's topic is going to be about my craft book collection. I do have a few. It's not like a whole library unlike my other subject matter. For a while there I spent a lot of time on YouTube learning all the stitches, and then I was like, you know what would be cool, having book references, so I started collecting them. But before I jump into that, I did want to kind of show something off. So Priscilla from Distinctive Crochet, she's been really interested in my giant knitting needles, and so I just had to actually take them down and bring them into a shot. This is what they look like. They're bigger than my arm. They're longer than my arm. These are 25 millimeters. I have a pair of circular 35 millimeters, but I couldn't bring them over here because they're attached to a project right now, and that project is really big. So it would drag if I were to try to bring it over here right now. But these are my babies. I haven't really used these a lot. I think I tried to cast on the project that's on my circulars right now with these, but these were too small, so I had to use the ones with the cords on them. These, I don't know, because usually when I make big fluffy projects like that, I end up casting on like 40 stitches, so I don't know if these will ever be long enough for one of those projects, but probably for something else. I don't know if I'll make fluffy scarves with these. I might actually try it sometime. I still need to file the tips around here because it's kind of like a flat little edge right here. You can see my thumb hitting up against the edge of this. It's because there's a little tip right there. But other than that, these are fun. These are really fun, and they're also intimidating. I leave them hanging on my shelf these days. I used to hang on my wall, but I just thought I'd feature them. These are weapons. I think for my drawing class back in 2017, I had bought these. I just bought these and I had to do a setup, so I drew these, and my professor mocked me. He's like, "Is that a club stick?" I'm like, "No." But anyway, fond memories. Okay, so I'm gonna put those aside. Today we're going to talk about my craft books. So I have quite a few that I reference. Some I reference more than others because they have sticky notes in them. I got all these. It's about 5, right? 5. So let's talk about my favorite 2 first. So this Crochet Stitch Bible, I even bought my mom one. I know my lights are bright against this cover. I got this off of Amazon. I even bought one for my mother because she was like, "Ooh, I want one." So I got her one for Mother's Day, and she has been absolutely loving it since then. This is very handy. This is a very handy go-to. So if you're learning how to read and write patterns, and I realized I didn't mention this the other day, but if you're learning how to read/write patterns, you want one of these. I think it was like $13 when I bought it. It might be like somewhere between 15, 16 nowadays. When I first got this book, it was about 13, and I was amazed when I opened it. By the way, I am not sponsored by any of these authors or publishers or anything. I'm just saying what's been working for me. I have referenced this book quite a few times to either relearn stitches for tutorials, or if I see a stitch and I've been trying to get it and I can't get it for a personal project, I'll go reference this book. But it is so helpful. It has a whole introduction page on it, and it goes over the different types of needles and sorry, not needles, hooks, notions. It goes over abbreviations. It's a full list of abbreviations in here somewhere. It talks about swatches and diagrams. It's really helpful. It goes over gauge and approximate hook sizes. It's just a really wonderful resource. And so they go through this whole section, how to stitch seams, crochet essentials they call it. So we have that, and then you have hundreds and hundreds of pages of these stitches, and they go by different categories, and it's just absolutely wonderful. Like, anything pretty much you want to do, you can find it in here. I think the only thing I didn't find in here was cables, unless I wasn't looking for them. Because I love cables, if you guys don't know. Cables are wonderful. But yeah, so this book, I want to know now if there are cables in here, but I won't go on a mad hunt for it right now. But yeah, and then in the back of the book it has the abbreviations and symbols, and it has sort of a glossary, which I found really interesting. And I have so many little tabbies in here. It's crazy. Let's see. I want to find, yeah, abbreviations and symbols. So if you're trying to learn how to read patterns and the abbreviations or whatever, like I said, the Craft Yarn Council or this book is really good. And it also has the symbols on there, so if you want to do more like chart patterns, you can do that, because they have the stitch name, the abbreviation, the symbol, and then, yeah, then the symbol. Sometimes they have definitions. In certain books they have the definition of the stitch, like how to work it, but all of that is described throughout the book, so that wasn't necessary here. So again, really helpful, really helpful. My second favorite is a knitting Bible. I have a lot of Bibles in this house. The knitting Bible. Now I have used this one also, maybe not as heavily, because I was kind of going over like fundamental knitting stuff for a while there and not so much the stitches, but this one goes over some of everything. Like this one is broken down into categories, and I think this one also has, yeah, basics of knitting section in the front of it. This light is really bright against paper, but it goes over all that wonderful beginning knitting stuff, chart symbols, how to read charts and things like that. And then you get into the actual book, and you have, again, hundreds of pages, a couple hundred pages, I think, of stitches, which is really remarkable, and it's just such a nice resource to have on your shelf. Oh my gosh, there's a pillow project in here. Anyway, I have not explored this entire book, obviously, but I want to eventually get off into the rest of this book. I have a few tabs in here, like 5 or 6 tabs in here, but this is really valuable as well. And matter of fact, I think I took some pictures of it back when I was on the other side of my basement, amongst all my yarn, so I'll probably pop that up just over here just because. Okay. I have 6. Who knew? Oh, and just to kind of put these two books into context. Okay, so the Crochet Stitch Bible has over 200 stitches in it that are explained in full. Very helpful. This one, the Knitting Stitch Bible, has over 300. No, it has exactly 300, and they explained it written, and they have charts in there, which is cool because I'm kind of figuring out how to read knitting charts now. It was totally on accident. It's one of those happy accidents, if you will. So this is really good, and this also kind of shows you guys, back to knitting versus crochet, how there are more knitting patterns in the world than crochet patterns. This is a prime example. There are like 100 more in here than there are in here, so I found that interesting as well. Alright, so this next one I'm going to talk about is actually the first one that I bought. It's a book by Leisure Arts. I got it from Michael's, and it's a bunch of textured stitches, and there are a few in there that I've fallen in love with over time. And I know the posted chevron stitch was one of them, because it gives you these raised chevrons using front post double crochets, and once you kind of get the hang of it, it's actually pretty easy. When I first tried to work it, I was very confused. First couple times I tried to work it, I was very confused. But some patterns are like that. I find that, you know, sometimes you have to work something a couple times before it clicks, like, ah, yeah, that little light bulb moment. But there are, what, 99 crochet stitches? Yeah, it's right on the cover. And I forgot. This is another good book that I got. Like I said, I got it from Michael's. I don't know if they still have it. I would hope so. It's by Darla Sims, so you could probably go to Leisure Arts website and find this book as well. But I found this book to be really helpful. It's just one of my thinner books. I've had it for much longer. I think I've had this since 2017 as well. And I said, oh, I'm going to read patterns because I can. So, yeah. And this has been helpful for practice with that. Then, I think, was it this year? Yeah, this year I started, so you guys know earlier this year I said that I started doing the crochet, the Tunisian crochet tutorials, which has been fun. Eventually I got bored with the basic stuff and I like started buying books. I started going on a crochet book Rampage this year. So I went on Amazon because that's the only way I've been able to shop this year. Anyway, I went on Amazon and I believe I found this book first. I think I found this one first. I don't have many tabs in here because as I look through this book, I'm like, okay, I already know a bunch of these. So, but it's still nice to have in my library. But this one also has abbreviations in here. They explain to you what the abbreviations are. This book I like because they actually name the stitches above the pictures. I love that. The other Tunisian crochet book I have, they do not name their stitches, and it's like, well, I don't want to call this stitch number 200. It's weird, but that's just me. I know some people prefer not to have the names on them. Yeah, it's just a difference in crafters, I guess. But yeah, so this one's a relatively short book. It has like, I would guess 40 pages at the most. I'm flipping through it at this moment. It has 36, so I was close. But it does have 2 other volumes, and I do intend to get those volumes later in the year just to explore them a little more. Maybe there's something in there that I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. But this one wasn't very expensive either. It's a little paperback. It's like paper thin. I think it was like $10 or $12 or something like that. Again, off of Amazon. I have this other crochet book, and this is another leisure arts book, which I didn't actually quite realize till later, but it's another leisure arts book. I've been in here a couple times. There are a couple stitches that I do like. Like I said, the only thing that I don't like is like the names. There's no names for them. Like there's this one, and it kind of, I don't know what it looks like, but it's just called stitch number 40. So it's kind of up to the crafter to stick a name on it, which is interesting. But it gives you a wider variety of stitches, and it gives you a bunch of general instructions, how to do decreases and increases and changing colors and whatnot. It's all that fundamental like Tunisian crochet stuff is in the back of this book, which this is a really helpful book to have as well, and sometimes I'll go back and reference it if I'm trying to do something a little different. So this is still handy to have. Like I said, I just wish they had the names of the stitches in there. This last book that I have is my 6th book. I honestly don't reference this book that much, but I bought it because at the time I thought that I was going to really like just get into it and be in tune to it. But it's a book on how to design your own crochet projects. And at that point, I was already designing my own crochet projects, but I figured I could get a book that would have a little more insight. This book has a bunch of formulas in it, which, don't get me wrong, I love math. Math is my thing. But I was just like, when I first bought it, I was just a little confused. But this shows you how to, this shows you quote-unquote magic formulas for making scarves, cowls, hats, socks, mittens, and gloves. So those, I mean, like, typically I do like pretty standard hats, scarves, and gloves, unless I'm just feeling extra and I end up doing a whole stitch thing. But this talks about blocking and measuring before and after blocking. It looks like there is a pattern in here. Like I said, I haven't totally gone through this. This thing is divided by chapters. So the first chapter was about scarves. The second one is about cowls and how to do them. It's a very nice looking book, and it's well put together. So every now and again, if I like decide to be inspired, I will actually probably dive into this book a little bit more. But people who have never designed anything kind of want to get a glimpse into that, this will probably be a book for you. I don't remember what I paid for it, but it is one that I got off of Amazon, and it is by Sarah Delany. So yeah, and the back of it says expert guidance plus customizable templates equals perfectly fitting accessories. Creating customized crochet wearables is easier than you think. Designer Sarah Delany walks you through the entire process from choosing the most appropriate yarns to developing your own unique patterns. Flexible formulas and fill-in-the-blank templates show you how exactly you need to make these one-of-a-kind scarves, cowls, fingerless mitts, mittens, gloves, hats, and socks. If you are new to designing, build your confidence with 18 practice patterns for head-to-toe garments that use Delany's customizable formulas. So yeah, this is really interesting because I never actually come across a book like this too, and I think that was part of the draw when I bought it. But this one has sat more, admittedly, than my other books because I was already designing. Now, if I ever want to just like go off into a deep dive and start redesigning some things, I'm going to definitely have this book on my shelf as a reference and go back to it because I mean, nobody knows everything and people forget things, so it's nice to have these references. But these are my only crochet books that I know of. Yeah, that I know of, because like I had to round them all up and put them up on my shelf up there so I can keep up with them, because otherwise they'd be all over my room. My room's already full of books, so I had to stay organized. And like I said, I do look forward to expanding my craft book collection at some point. I like books in general, but I think these are just good resources to have on your shelf. I know some people have full-on pattern books, and I have seen a couple pattern books that I want, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have yarn everywhere. But that's normal. So no big deal on that. Alright, and that brings us to the end of my video. Hopefully you guys found some new books, potential favorites. I hope so. You can let me know down in the comments below if you have any favorite craft books. I might want to check out a couple of new books this month, maybe, I don't know, but definitely this year. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. If you are new here, I post knit, crochet, and Tunisian crochet videos 3 to 4 days a week. I do project tutorials as well for those various crafts, and occasionally I dabble in the art, but that's been a while. I intend to bring that back this fall, so you probably don't want to miss that either. If you are watching this on Instagram, don't forget to leave this video a heart and go back and follow me, because I post all my pattern announcements, my whips, my other social media, current projects over on Instagram. The Instagram page is specifically for Infiniti Crafting Co. I just started it about mid-July, and we are almost to 130 people, I think. So cool. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope everybody is staying safe out there. You know, the world is nuts. I'm not going into rant mode, but literally the same things I said in rant mode on Saturday, you have a lot of people saying those very same exact things that I just said. And I was discussing this with my grandmother, and she's like, so praying for everybody's safety and well-being out there. Just, if at all possible, stay out of crowded areas. Don't get close to any dangerous stuff, guys. Anyway, if you have any questions for the rest of August, I am here. I'm still taking questions for the rest of August. I don't mind answering them. Just leave me a comment on one of my Vlogust videos asking me that question, and I will be more than happy to come on camera and answer them. And until tomorrow, happy making.